right, let's talk about money and lots of it. SARS has released its preliminary tax revenue outcome for the 2021 financial year, and basically it's all good news. SARS collected 1.5 trillion rand in tax, which is a new record high. For the year that ended yesterday, revenue is up 25% from the previous year. It's also slightly higher than the budget estimate. Now, South Africa has not only recovered after COVID-19 led to a decline in tax revenues, the growth seen now is 15% higher than what was seen in the year before COVID. To discuss, we're joined by SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter. Commissioner, I imagine you are an extremely happy man tonight.
An extremely happy and extremely tired man, Francis. How are you doing?
Good, and thank you for being with us. Commissioner, we're going to bring up one of the graphs that SARS released, which shows just how high this revenue is. And when we bring that up, you'll see that there's a dip in 2020 due to COVID-19. But now we've not only rebounded, but we're significantly higher than 2019. This in a year when the July unrest happened. So my first question is, how did it happen?
Well, if you're a tax collector, you welcome the small mercies. And we've had a number of small mercies. One of it is that we've seen for the first time in a long time in the last 2 years, partly driven by the mix in imports and exports, we have seen a trade surplus, which really we haven't seen in a long time, of at least 27% year-on-year growth on exports. And when we export more, we import rands or dollars, whereas if we import more, we are exporting money. So that trade balance has helped not only the current account balance of South Africa, it also has helped the revenue collection. And underpinning that,
I was going to ask, is mining crucial there? Yeah. Because you have warned before that this is great, we're seeing great sales in mining, but we can't get addicted to it or think it'll last forever.
Yes. I was going to say that a sizable portion of that, our estimate is around about 48 to 50 billion, has come from what is known as the commodity boom, that is a mixture of commodity prices, but also of production volumes. And then we've seen a faster than expected recovery in the general economy, which collectively produced about 70 billion of additional contribution, which was not in the planning assumptions. But I'm also very pleased to say, Francis, that the most significant contribution of the revenue outperformance has come from the administrative actions of a more efficient SARS. So today we announced that 209, almost 210 billion rand additional revenue has been collected because SARS is a lot more focused and administers its law with the level of diligence that's required. Now, we would be the first to say we still have a long way to go, but it is also encouraging to see the steady progress we are making with the rebuilding of SARS. Yeah. And that has resulted in a significant contribution. And indeed, as you point out, the recovery this year is in fact 15% growth based on the pre-COVID year 2019-2020, which is probably the most important and the most encouraging indicator of our revenue announcement today.
All right, so you're catching more tax dodgers. That's what you're saying. You also said today that the level of tax morality and tax compliance is a reflection of people's confidence in government. And we've spoken about this before. Do you think that confidence is going up or down?
I think we are struggling with a significant improvement in confidence, and COVID hasn't helped either. But I think that as a whole, if you look at the lived experience of most South Africans, if you are a youth, 7 out of 10 youth have little prospect of employment. Our unemployment has increased steadily over the last number of quarters. So people begin to get a sense of hopelessness and despair. Secondly, we open our eyes and ears every day to report of corruption, of people doing business with government and colluding with government officials, for example, in the PPE procurement space. We see the Zondo Commission announcing its findings, and that triggers a raft of additional investigations for institutions like SARS, the SIU, the NPA, and others. So we are surrounded by a lot of bad news, which erodes confidence in the system of government, and SARS is affected by that. What we hope we can do in a small way is slowly restore confidence in South Africans that the tax revenue system is improving. We will work hard to improve the professional behavior of our own staff. We will work hard to root out any form of corruption in our own institution. We will not tolerate any of our staff who collude with taxpayers or any other citizen to defraud the system. And so hopefully we can breathe a little bit of hope to ordinary South Africans that there are parts in government, as the President announced in his SONA address, that is serving South Africans well.
Yeah.
At the same time, we are deeply pained every time we drop the ball, because whilst we have to balance service with risk, it is our aspiration to become smarter, to work harder, to be more professional, and to act beyond reproach. And that's a journey to which we are committed.
All right, thank you for that, Commissioner. I'd like to bring up another graph which is looking at where the revenue is coming from right now. And all this corporate tax is coming in. We've seen the growth there, and you outlined that today. An obvious question, and this is not about the numbers, but I'd love your opinion if you're willing to give it. Companies seem to be doing well, but still nothing is changing in terms of unemployment. So there's a disconnect there. Is that linked to mining or technology? What's your take?
Well, so we've always struggled in South Africa, Francis, with inclusive growth, which means that the growth in the economy filters through to the ordinary man and woman on the ground. So company profitability doesn't necessarily translate or have a multiplier effect that filters right through to everyone on the ground. But also, you see there is 119 billion additional corporate income taxes. As I said earlier, probably between 50 to 55% of that would not be repeatable. It would be because of a commodity cycle, which we've already begun to see the decline in. Secondly, we also know that we've had to impose a number of administrative actions to bring in some of that outstanding debt, to raise additional revenue through assessments, to detect areas of tax base erosion and transfer pricing abuse. And so collectively, we have also raised additional money through that. So some of that gain we see in company profitability is once off and therefore can't go into the base. But the difference of about 40 to 50 billion can comfortably go into the base, which would say that our growth, the normalized growth in corporate income taxes is probably closer to 25 or 28%.
All right, Commissioner, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. I was hoping to talk to you about petrol and a whole lot of other things, but we hope to chat to you soon. That was SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter. And yes, breaking records in terms of tax revenue, which is good news.